Hey, bottom of the Monday to you. There's the first of probably the first 10, maybe the first 9 of 25 yards. Oh yeah, could be worse. Could be raining. It is.
I don't know. These ones are holding.
The birds?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even get to tie these ones up. Ran out of tail line.
And what you want to do is to really work it.
Slam it.
Yeah. And that way you're actually, then you're kind of confident in getting it flat. Otherwise it's kind of still working. And that's fairly.
You want to run it? I started my right leg.
Yeah, sweep action.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg. Hit it. There you go.
Try it again.
Try it again. Couldn't remember. I was going to say Lionheart. I thought that was just somebody playing Karate Kid. I love Karate Kid, the old James Smith.
So you want to work in the trades? Well, this is how it goes sometimes. It's not as miserable as it looks, although it would be if it's every single day. But truth be told, placing concrete, especially in the footings, on a day like this where it's just kind of cold and raining, that could be worse. So let's get into a few things. One, is it a problem that it's raining as we're placing the concrete? The answer is no. We know that because bridge projects, commercial projects, these things go forward. Also, only the top layer of the concrete is actually, affected by the moisture. And when we pour concrete driveways that are exposed to aggregate, we're washing off the top anyway. Also, we're almost always deeper than we need to be with the concrete. Like this design called for 12-inch footings. It's probably 12 and a half almost everywhere, or 13. So it's not a big deal. Second, get the right rain gear. We've got a combination of Grundens there. Greg, the guy running the concrete vibrator, he's wearing Grundens. My brother behind him is. The pump company guy is. Kyle's got, I don't even remember what kind of coat, but he's got Grundens pants on. And then I'm wearing Haley Hansen. It's the Gale. So find the right rain gear. Makes a big difference. If you've watched the previous videos, then you know that the liner system on this footing is the Fast Form by Fabform Industries. We love it. What if there's water in the forms? Not a problem. As the concrete pushes, works its way and is placed, it'll push out either the little slits that we've made or the seams, wherever the bags overlap, like at corners or in the middle of a run, as the case might be. Okay, so let's just get into how we're placing the concrete. Normally, we use a line pump, and the line pump operator, or the line pump company, provides the operator. For different reasons, we had to go with a different company this time, and they don't run the hose. So that's why Kyle's running the hose. That is a hard job. We've always had very good success with line pumps because the companies that we use, they run the hose. So essentially you get an extra person that day. That's what we'll continue to do in the future. As the concrete's being placed, we've got a guy on the inside with a concrete rake and a guy on the outside with a concrete rake. Here's part of the reason why using a line pump can be kind of annoying. Not even kind of. It's hard. But it's half the cost of a boom pump. And it's really not that difficult, especially with this amount of labor. Which, by the way, there's another rule. Always have more people than you think you need. Even if somebody's kind of standing around the whole time, it's worth it. You just never know if something's going to happen. Also, you want nobody to just get overworked. Now, here's one thing, safety thing. We should have had rebar caps on these. You might see in future videos that we ended up buying like hundreds of rebar caps. I think literally I ordered them this day because it was like, oh man, we're climbing around that without rebar caps. Okay, so let's get back to the process. We have a person inside with a concrete rake and a person outside. So the guy running the line pump, he's just going to fill up those footings. He's going to try to place it in a way that it's nice and smooth up against the forms. But really the guys with the rake, they're essentially flattening off or rotting off the top of the concrete with the rake. Notice that nobody's really bent over except the guy with the mag float, who happens to be my brother, way in the back there. We've also got a guy running the cordless concrete vibrator. Truth be told, with this mix, this is a 5-inch slump, but it's a 6-sack 60/40 with fly ash and pea gravel. So it's a line pump mix. As some people call it, an ICF mix. It flows really well. I'm sure there's going to be comments down below. See how the water moves in the bag system? You might have missed that. Notice on the left as concrete's maybe you can't see it now. Okay, I will see it later. What I was going to say is as the concrete's placed, it'll push the water out. Anyway, some people are going to comment that this looks like we're just pouring like a number 8 or a number 9 inch slump. We're not. It's the nature of this mix. That's why it has to flow, because it's got a small hose that it's coming out of. Okay? But we're still vibrating it. And when I speed things up, you can kind of tell too that the vibrator does help move. We want proper consolidation, especially around the steel. What that means is that the concrete fully encapsulates the rebar. That's what gives it its strength. That's why rebar is steel reinforcement. Concrete is very strong in compression, not as strong in tension, and that's why the rebar is 3 inches up from the bottom. There's some great YouTube videos out there. I think there's a channel called Practical Engineering that gets into this. Really cool channel. Anyway, the vibrator helps to consolidate that concrete, especially when you have low slump concrete. It's important to use a vibrator. But we've just gotten in the habit of using it for everything now. So, little Makita does great on a foundation like this by the end. That little motor in Greg's left hand, it's going to be pretty warm. And that's not a bad thing when it's 44 degrees and raining.
That should do it.
When I order concrete from the batch plant, I ask for 30-minute spacing. The idea is that as one truck gets done, the other truck should already be there. So in this case, he's done. He's ready to go down. There's the second truck or third truck, whatever it was. He's going to go down the road to a different lot of ours. That's where he's going to do his cleanup. That way our pour is about as continuous as it can be.
20 yards down in about an hour. We got our last 5, and I think it calcs out to be like 4.5, so we might have ordered a little tight even so. And it is pouring rain. That's okay. It's Monday and it can only get better. Or worse. Nah. Yeah. Hope you guys have a good Monday.
I'm just getting the MVP. I'm thinking it may or may not be found.
He's doing okay. Is it Ben?
No offense.
I think it's all co-MVP. Yep.
This section of footing is 2'6" wide. It had the 4 bars of steel and the J-hooks with the longer tail. The 1x4s we spaced just to put the 2x4 on top that has all the steel mates. That vertical rebar there is spaced 10 inches on center. As you saw in the last video, those steel mates, they're so awesome. I think that the 3/4 of an inch from the 1x4 is a little tight to get the mag float under there, but it's worked out well enough for us. I think we'll just keep doing that instead of 2x. But a lot of guys use 2x because it gives them a little bit more room to put their mag floats underneath or their trowels. So there you can see there's a little bit of water on top, but as Kyle places the concrete, it's just going to push out through those overlaps. And we're on the home stretch. This pour went really well. No blowouts, no creaking, nobody got hurt. Nobody was frustrated. I mean, it really was a nice laid back pour. The only negative, it's gross. It's so gross. 44 degrees and whatever. It was a Monday. We were all wet. We ended up going home. Bought Noah some new rain gear. Make sure he had some good stuff. So not a bad day. I feel like I should address the obvious though. There's going to be a lot of people probably that comment that you shouldn't place concrete in weather like this, and who in their right mind works like this? Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with placing concrete in weather like this. It's done all over the world all the time. Big commercial projects in Seattle, where it's always raining, they move forward. Second, it does take a mindset to work in weather like this. It's not always like this. I don't think I would do this if it was. I couldn't do it anymore. I've done this my whole life. But if you think about all the jobs that have to take place even when the weather's bad, farming, almost all utility work, excavation, they have to shut down a little bit more often in bad weather, but there's just things that have to happen. People are out snow plowing. We can't just hide from the weather. The job has to get done. So you just adapt to that and you develop the mindset for it. It is exhausting. A lot of us deal with seasonal affective disorder. It's just the nature of it. So try to ameliorate that as best you can. Listen to good music. Try to keep the morale of the crew up. Not every day is like this. Last section and then we're done. The expanded footing there is a point load footing. What you're looking at is actually under the garage slab. So we're going to have 10-foot foundation walls, garage slab above us. So the beam that carries the joists that support that slab, that's what that expanded footing is for. It's a point load for that column. Notice how everything stays together because of the spreader cleats and the stakes. In the next video that goes over the pour for the foundation there in the back, you're going to see where I made a couple of mistakes. The whole system works well. When you start to take an element out of that, it no longer works well. But you'll see that in the next video. Okay, so here's a closer look at the bag system.
All right, we did it. That is, I'll timestamp it. That was 25, what did we order?
25 yards.
25 yards. We ordered 25. 19, just kidding. Maybe one at best.
Nice.
Yeah. So not bad. The bag's held, definitely 2x6 footing boards. Zoom in here. So that's all it is one screw through the stake, and you can see how the bags bulge. Nicely done. Steelmates did well. What we learned is you got to make sure you tie those to at least two of the horizontals down below so that the concrete doesn't want to torque it, but not a big deal.
That movie.
Torque, yeah, best movie in the franchise.